Welcome to episode 306 of the Bear Trap on the Boomer Bust channel. I'm your host, Terry, and today, talking about, of course, Justin Fields. Now, Bears fans, I was as excited as anybody. I was running back to my place. I was out. We was at a celebration for one of my colleagues that's took a new job, and I was like, I gotta go. Like, if the Bears stayed at 20 and we got somebody, I was like, yeah, I can talk about this later. I'm gonna stay here. But when this happened, I was like, I gotta go. I rushed out so fast, I left my keys, y'all. So I got back to my place and couldn't even get in. So then I was like, you know what? That's a sign from God. I gotta go back. So I ended up staying and, finishing the celebration, and I was like, I'll do it today. But I'm not gonna lie, I woke up today and I was like, let me make sure that actually happened, because last night was a lituation. So I was like, let me make sure that actually happened. But it's true, we got Justin Fields. So first, let's talk about the trade quickly, because I do think it's interesting. You got obviously the number 20 pick and the 5th round pick this year, which is fine. Lower round picks in general. And I guess I didn't talk a whole lot this year about draft. If you paid attention, I told you I wasn't going to be covering it this year because of the whole pandemic stuff. But one of the things that I said early on talking with people is like, these draft picks this year aren't going to be as valuable, at least to me, as picks for next year or even 2023, when we know we'll have more of a normal season, because they didn't get a chance to really evaluate this year like they usually could. And that's scary for a lot of teams. Some teams feel strong, but some teams are scared. So giving up a 5th round this year, cool. Next year, a 1st and a 4th, that stings a little bit. Not gonna lie to you. That now, obviously, you go up, really, you're not in the top 10, and you get a quarterback. So some people are like, well, it's a quarterback. You don't really have a different price to get a certain position. It's about where in the draft you're going. So you move up 9 spots, and you're not in the top 10, and I get it. But at the same time, we're not guaranteed to really be competitive. It's different when a team like the Packers or the Buccaneers or the Saints with Breeze, when they do stuff like that with 1st round pick, it's different because you're not going to get like top 5 value for it. So with us, we really don't know what this season is going to look like. I mean, obviously we got Allen under the tag, Komet's still there, Jimmy. And so some of those pieces are there. We'll see what happens with the draft. But overall, I don't know that we're guaranteed, to be in the playoffs, even with the expanded spot. But especially, nobody thinks the NFC East is going to be that terrible again this year. But they might. But anyway, I just think that stings a little bit. It raises my eyebrows. So we'll kind of see how that plays out. But we go up and get Justin Fields, and it means a lot of different things. First of all, you got to talk about it. All these people. Oh, it's racist. Oh, they're not going to get a black quarterback. Oh, they'll have all types of black players. They just won't have a black quarterback because it's the face of the franchise. So we'll allow all these people, but we won't allow the black quarterback. They're racist because we just haven't seen it. And I'm just like, again, you look at Texans and their short history before Deshaun Watson. You look at Chiefs and their history before Mahomes. You go down the line with some teams. And it's like, again, at one point we're going to have a quarterback that's not white. And then all of a sudden they're not racist anymore. Like, what are you going to say? Is it a switch you just turn on and off? Or is it more likely that people didn't make that a major factor? Like, in my mind, and this conversation has happened a lot because of Justin Fields this year. In my mind, again, it can be a part in your mind. It could be a bias. It could be a prejudice. It could be whatever that, is just subconscious, maybe implicit. But is not the driving factor. factor. These people are trying to win and get paid. Don't get it twisted. The most important color in this country is green. And so that whole conversation, I just hope is done. Yes, I mean, I'm definitely nuanced in the fact that I never bought into that conversation. It was so annoying to have. But at the same time, I can recognize it feels different to have somebody that looks like my people wearing the Bears jersey and being the quarterback. Obviously, we haven't seen it yet, but just even last night, the celebration I had when we took him, and I was because I was really scared that we were going up for Mac Jones. And it's not even a racial thing at that point. It's just an evaluation thing. Again, I didn't dive deep into the draft, but obviously with the quarterbacks, you always see enough film that's available. So in watching, those two in the playoffs, knowing that Justin Fields had a little more experience on him and Mac Jones is kind of out of nowhere. I wouldn't say out of nowhere, but he's kind of more of a recent revelation. I was just like, the better prospect to me is Justin Fields. The better prospect than Trey Lance and Zach Wilson to me was Justin Fields. That's how I felt this whole time before I even started the draft. And then going through, watching the playoffs, seeing some games, that's how I felt. So I was really excited. I was like, I don't know why people don't have as high of opinion of him. But really, that don't matter. Like, people get lost in that draft stock conversation. Draft stock is fake, man. It's fake. You don't know. First of all, it only takes one team to draft you. This ain't a ranking of prospects. This is a draft. If the Jets like you and took you number 2, it don't matter what the other 30 teams thought about you. It don't matter what the quote unquote stock is. You the number 2 pick. And so it only takes one team to draft you. So the talk about Justin Fields not being rumored to be the best, now obviously it plays out. Well, we knew they wanted Lawrence. We knew the Jets ended up really liking Wilson. There was talk about who the 49ers were coming up to get, and who knows where Lance would have landed. Because there weren't a lot of trades this year. And I was talking to my friend before the draft that was hosting the party. I was like, it's going to be interesting this year because either people are going to trade more because they don't want these picks this year, or they're going to trade less because people don't want these picks. I don't know how it's going to work out. So it wasn't that many trades. And so a lot of teams that people thought were going to trade, like the Falcons and all that, the Dolphins, the Lions, they didn't really trade. And so we don't know how that would have shook out, but the 49ers like Lance enough. And again, he's number 3 pick. Is that his draft stock? Who knows? But that's where he went. So with Justin Fields, to me, it was like, okay, if you get in a situation where he's falling, would the Bears do it? And again, I've always said this about Ryan Pace, and some people hate it, some people like it. He's aggressive. He goes for what he wants. And he's not afraid to trade. Now, I've told you this whole time, but when the offseason started, I told you I would be shocked if they allowed them to play with a lot of draft capital or a lot of capital in general, because we don't know if they'll be here long term. Now, they got Andy Dalton, and again, to me, despite what they were saying, I was like, you gotta wait till the draft. Everybody was going nuts. And I was like, you gotta wait you don't know the whole plan. Now, obviously the plan in the draft is always changing depending on what happens unless you're at the top of the draft. But you gotta wait till the draft. Everybody went crazy about Andy Dalton. I'm like, let's just wait and see. Now, to me, I told you from the beginning, it would probably be a veteran, like a younger veteran. Not Jameis, but somewhere in there, Mariota, blah, 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 those type of guys. They didn't end up doing that. They went with Andy Dalton. And to me, I'm like, that move makes it feel to me that there will be a younger quarterback. First of all, because it ain't going to be Foles. They're going to trade him. Like, I'm still thinking the Eagles going to get him. They're going to trade him. But I'm like, it's not about to be Foles and Andy Dalton, so somebody else is coming in. And I don't think they hitching a wagon to Andy Dalton for 1 year. So I was like, to me, it's probably a young quarterback. And again, it might not have shook out this way if Fields didn't fall, but I was like, you got to wait till the draft and see what they get. And this is what we got. We got Justin Fields, big dog. So, yeah, that's how it all played out. And I'll more than likely do some film sessions at some point, just to get that up there so, y'all could watch that. But overall, I think he showed me a lot in the playoffs, just purely based on the moment. And, there's mechanical things to talk about. There's vision. There's, all the traits of a quarterback. But the biggest thing he showed me is his heart, toughness, and leadership. And I start to understand and value that more and more. It's definitely important to me, but it's starting to get a higher value because kids are different these days, but everybody's different. You, as a high performing athlete, you have to have a certain athletic mindset. And some people, they crumble under that. And so it was nice to see him on a stage not cower and to lead his team to that national championship. And he was going crazy. I think, was that Notre Dame they played? Or did Notre Dame play? I don't remember which one they played. But they were going nuts. I mean, Sermon was doing his thing, but Justin Fields was lighting. He was impressive with arm strength and ability to put the ball downfield and with good placement. Obviously, he was running well, but he was taking, the shots and coming back. He was being tough and all those things. So I was just impressed. I mean, I liked him last year. I liked the Clemson duels he had before this year as well. Again, I think he didn't play his best, but I don't think he shrunk in the moment. And then this year, he really elevated his play and really showed what he can do with the team. Now, like all quarterbacks, for the most part, he's going to have to speed up his ability to read and process. But overall, I like the tools that he brings. And it's more general because, like I said, I didn't do a deep dive this year. It's more general, but I have seen him play live in some of his other games. So I do like his overall tool set. I really hope. Now, here's the one thing I really hope, because it's real easy to look at Justin Fields like, honestly, it's easy to look at Justin Fields kind of like Deshaun Watson was, because especially now, you think about Deshaun Watson, you're like, oh, so mobile, he runs. He wasn't running a whole lot in college, and that wasn't really his primary weapon. Obviously you get to the league. The cool thing is to extend the play now, and then you get behind a bad offensive line or a bad team, and it's tempting to just keep trying to run, turn into Cam Newton and try to carry the team that way. And I don't think that helps you win. I don't think that, helps you last in a career. And so I'm hoping Justin Fields doesn't fall into that trap, and I hope we don't fall into that trap of trying to put him in that box where it's now the read option offense. Like, yes, you can do some, like you see the Chiefs, perfect example. Pat Mahomes not super fast, mobile enough. They do some things in certain situations with him to take advantage of that, but that's not a constant thing. And I'm not trying to say Justin Fields is Mahomes, and he's a lot more athletic too. But my point is, you can utilize your quarterback's mobility, but still work to have him be a pocket passer. Because obviously, again, we've seen many times and we talked about it many times, that's when you're going to get the most out of that quarterback position. So, that's really it for now. Like, we'll dive into the film, but I'm really excited to hear what everybody got to say, because people love to talk crap in the moment and they love to go nuts. Now, obviously, you're going to have some people like, oh, I didn't do that, or I was fine when we signed Andy Dalton. So we're going to have revisionist history. But I'm going to be interested just in general to see what people have to say. But yeah, it's good to be back on the mic and all that, talking Bears ball. So we'll see what we do the rest of this draft. And I'll talk about those picks too. And again, we'll start diving into the film maybe this weekend. So go to the comment section. Let me know what you think. Share it around. Get the conversation started. Send in a voice message. Do all those things. Thumbs up, subscribe, and remember, stay up and bear down.